Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 149th edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by the amazing Spider-Man Defense Force, Jaden.
Hello.
Good morning.
Could use that one next week. Oh, wait, no, this week. What am I fucking thinking? Right, yeah. No, this week, you're right.
Yeah, I think I did good.
For some reason, I thought we were doing Whiplash this week and fucking social network.
Jesus Christ. Wait, so, at least I know you did rewatch the movie, because that would be hilarious if I just saw Whiplash come up on your Letterboxd. I'd be like, Jaden? Anyway, we've also, of course, got PTA's number one fanboy, aka Fitzy, aka Liam.
Hello.
Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. And this week, that movie is The Social Network, which opened in the US on October 1st, 2010. It was once again directed by David Fincher, just going all out with Fincher on the show, especially this year. It's a biography drama, and the synopsis says, as Harvard student Mark Zuckerberg, this is an unknown character, by the way, a new character original to this film, Mark Zuckerberg creates the social networking site that would become known as Facebook. He is sued by the twins who claimed he stole their idea and by the co-founder who was later squeezed out of the business. Yes, indeed. Okay. Jaden, I'll start with you. What did you think about The Social Network, and how many times have you seen it?
This is my second time watching it, and it just still remains phenomenal. Like when I saw your score, I was shocked by how low it was. Not that it was low, but you know, like how do you tell if it, like I mean the fucking the documentary title sums it up. How do you tell a story about Facebook, especially in 2010? You know, in 2010, Facebook was still hardly a thing. You know,
Right.
like it is nuts how they made this movie and how they made it so good. The pacing of everything, it is just always exciting, just constantly, and like even when it takes little breaks to show like you know. Like the rolling or anything, it just builds tension in the characters. And it is just constantly phenomenal in building and moving forward.
Great way to put it, and great point to bring up the time it was made as well, because on the poster I notice it says to get to 500 million friends, like alluding to the fact that at the time I presume Facebook had 500 million users. And I presume now it's got like 4 billion or something, probably. Yeah, so that is an interesting thing to look at as well. I like the movie. I was really locked in this time. I have a hard time sort of identifying the story and themes and ideas of the film, which I'm looking forward to talking about today. But it, you know, in terms of just when it finished right away, which is fine, it's just a unique experience for me in that way, I guess. Like the movie wraps up, and I was totally engaged, and the writing and direction is incredible. But I don't really know how to feel about the characters or even the events at the end. Like when the typical text comes up at the end explaining the real backstory stuff of what happened. And it's, you know, basically everyone got a ton of money. Facebook at the time worth $25 billion. Usually when those blurbs come up, there's sort of meant to be, at least for me, like some sort of emotional resonance associated with them. Like, oh, wow, they did it. Oh, that's amazing. Or, oh, that's terrible. You know what I mean? I feel like those bits of text usually have some sort of elicit some response. And for me, I was just like, that's just a blanket fact about them, I guess. Cool. I didn't really feel anything towards that. So I don't know. I was just totally neutral emotionally. You know, which is fine. I guess in that way, it's just it comments on quite how unbiased the entire film is and how it portrays everything that played out, which is great in itself. So that's unique and cool. But yeah, it's no doubt, a very good movie for sure. Liam, what did you think?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and we've done 4 Fincher films. Well, now we're doing 4 Fincher films. And it's somehow the first Fincher film which, like, I don't have, like, thematic reservations about it, and I'm not, like, mixed on anyway. I just think it's, like, just superb and, you know, exciting, and, you know, it goes at a breakneck pace and all the things that Jaden said. And, yeah, I don't know. I think it's really awesomely just, like, grounded by, like, really basic emotions as well. Like, on, like I think other David Fincher films are maybe more complicated than this one. But I guess we'll get into that because that's more thematics. But I think it's awesome.
We have gone through so much of Finch's filmography.
Yeah,
I just realized when you said that.
half of them, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
What you guys have already brought up right off the bat, definitely a standout thing for me is how exciting this movie is. Even though it could very easily not be, based on what the scenes actually are and what's happening event-wise in the story. You know, there's tech talk, there's depositions, everyone's favorite, plenty of legal stuff going on. You know what I mean? And the vast majority of this film is, or the vast majority of the intriguing stuff of this film comes from scenes like that, scenes in the legal hearings and just one-on-one conversations with people, often sitting down in chairs in casual and not casual settings alike. So, you know, there's a lot of talking, no doubt. This is a very dialogue-driven film, but it's a testament to it of how exciting it remains. And for me, my main takeaway for why was because the personal conflicts are so simple to understand, but still really compelling. That was sort of my main thing about it. But I guess the part where I want to clarify with you, Liam, or at least, or maybe disagree with, I don't know, but was just the fact that I didn't feel thematically involved in that way. I didn't feel emotionally involved. Like, I wouldn't use the word emotion. I just think the conflicts, story wise, that they're building are interesting in terms of how the different characters are working against each other. And there's so many examples we can go through of Eduardo and Mark's relationship and how it evolves and changes with the twins, and how it's quite nuanced as well. But I didn't really feel much towards it. But I want to know if you disagree with me, because you specifically used, you know, the emotions of the film in talking about how exciting it was, you know, and how fast it was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the film's emotional in a way that's like melodramatic, like Schindler's List type of emotion, but it's emotion in the way that it's like, I guess you just feel for Eduardo and just to some extent Mark. Like Jesse plays him with a bit of like vulnerability, I guess. So I think it's emotional in that way. And the themes of the film, I think, are just like related to like, you know, like ambition and jealousy and that kind of thing, and envy and class and all those, you know, all those like things that are kind of timeless, right? But I get what you mean if you don't see emotion from it. Like, I can understand that, yeah, but I definitely do.
Yeah. Okay. No, I understand totally though. Like, it comes from empathy towards the characters. Yeah, I totally get that. For me, the main sort of question I had coming out of this film, and I wanted to ask you guys, was what to think. What do we think of Mark Zuckerberg as a person? You know, and the way, obviously, the way he's the real life thing is probably a different question, but specifically in regards to his portrayal in the film, and how do we feel about him? Because I feel like there's a lot of different potential ways to look at him and feel about him. He's a nuanced character, which I really like, and I love that you brought up how Jesse plays him quite vulnerably at times as well. But just his choices, there's so many different examples of things to look at. Like, I would just say overall, I don't really like Mark. I don't know
No,
if
yeah.
but I don't know if you're meant to or not. Like, I'll just, first of all, I'll back off and just say, Jaden, how do you feel about Mark Zuckerberg in the movie? I want to get this
Well,
clear.
I think it's hard to think about Mark Zuckerberg in 2010 without, you know, having all the knowledge of Mark Zuckerberg at this point in time, or in 2017 or whatever it was when I first watched it. Like, you know, like, despite how much the film does try to show that he has like a redeeming side, he is just a major dick and he is a bit of a weirdo. You know, he's a creep. You know, he doesn't belong here, kind of thing. But like, I think you certainly feel empathetic for Mark at the end, and I think like it's hard not to, you know, like it is so clearly demonstrated that like Eduardo does mean something to him, you know, and like,
Oh yeah,
he is his
absolutely.
friend. So and in losing his friend is what hurt him way more than losing any of the millions of dollars that he lost in that case, you know. No, I feel for Mark in the movie for sure.
Okay, cool.
I guess what both you said. I mean, I feel for Mark, but he's definitely like the villain of the film. like even in like the opening scene, he's in the wrong, right? And he like the
Oh
whole
yeah, big
his
time.
whole thing is like sparked by this, kind of bitterness that he, you know, starts the whole face mash thing with, and that like kind of starts the whole movie, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, he does kind of just use people and like betray people, but he is
Yeah.
also like quite sympathetic, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. That scene at the end played quite well. I agree. That's where I definitely would feel the most towards him, and definitely what Jan was saying about him losing Eduardo was sort of the biggest impact for him. You sort of feel that there, in my opinion. I was interested specifically in the choice to have the final shots of the film him like refreshing on Erica's page. I guess I don't know if that represents like his. I guess at that moment he does feel like regret, and hoping she accepts the request, and of the people that he's sort of cut ties with along the way, I suppose. But there's no doubt, like he screwed Eduardo out of his shares. Him and Justin Timberlake did, and so they did that because he threatened to shut them down, right? Or because I don't think he actually really was going to, but he cut off the funds for the servers, and that was enough of like a thing, I guess, to put them off. But I was just wondering if that more plays into maybe a more jealous side or something larger for Mark, just because I don't know if that would have just been it for him for what he did to fully push Eduardo out, because it was a significant play. He really did execute him, so to speak, in that moment, by pushing him out of the company.
Well, I think Parker is kind of like the main force to blame there.
Okay.
Like, because
Yeah.
no matter what Eduardo did, like he was still like the CFO, and it was still Mark's friend. But then as soon as it's like they say, as soon as Sean Parker came in, like he started pushing Eduardo out, and Mark just became infatuated with his ideas, and you could see in each scene like Parker, like every time he tried, he'd be like, "Oh, Eduardo's not here. He should really be here." And like it's kind of constantly planting that idea that he needs to be pushed out.
Mm.
Or it's more on him than Mark, I feel.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's no doubt he's a strong instigator. I guess I was just more trying to figure out, like, did Mark want to? Like, at what level? Because Mark obviously agrees to it and does it, and he's well aware of what he's doing, you know?
I feel like there are two main kind of events or things that like motivate Mark in the film. Is like one is like just Erica in general. Like I feel like he is kind of in love with Erica in the film. And like every time, like when she kind of rejects him for the second time, or she like kind of tells him he was a dick at the restaurant. Like that's when he gets even more motivated to like expand Facebook. But the other thing is just Eduardo getting into the Phoenix Club and him being jealous of that. And like there are a lot of like even subtler ways that
Okay.
Mark is a dick, because like every time Eduardo says that he made it to the next step, Mark says like you should just be happy with that. Don't worry if you like don't make it any further. He says some like comment like that, So I think he is, he is originally just jealous, and then Parker kind of like leans into that, I guess.
Okay. I honestly didn't really get that from the film, but that makes tons of sense though. I like that a lot. That Mark would be jealous of that, and that's sort of, and then Sean sort of just gets the knife in there and just sort of is able to instigate action out of it, I guess. Yeah, I mean the whole face mash thing. It's a good opening sequence
Oh
because it
yeah.
sort of introduces you to it gives a really great context for the sort of the scale of what Mark's doing, and the college scene at the time, and what Facebook ends up becoming, and the influence it ends up having. You sort of understand where everything's at technologically for these people's lives, and the effect is going to end up disrupting it in that way. But also just for Mark as a character, like that whole thing feels it's sort of an exciting scene, but the whole thing feels super sinister to me. Like the whole him getting all the photos and everyone comparing and the impact it has on everyone. Like, I don't know. It was just another thing where I was just like, this guy's pretty trash. I don't know. It was pretty poor in my opinion. So that was definitely one thing weighing against him. But, and of course everything we've said about Eduardo. But at the same time, there are these little moments of like, you see that he cares about his friends. You know, like what a standout one for me was when he was considerate by he gave Eduardo the title of co-founder and CFO, right? And Eduardo mentioned how much that would mean to his dad, you know, and Mark was aware of that. So he is empathetic towards his friends and does stuff to help them, you know. So you are seeing two different sides of him, and the same goes for even when they're later in the deposition, and what was it, like the animal cruelty thing? And Mark was like said he was defending Eduardo to his lawyers behind the scenes and stuff, and they had that little moment across the table where they sort of connect again a little bit as friends, or they realize that they're not trying to, they're in this lawsuit, but they're not trying to like ruin each other totally, you know. So there are these small little moments, but for me, like when I'm just trying to think about this, it sort of comes back to the final line where the whatever her face is, the solicitor lady tells Mark that you're not an asshole, you're just trying so hard to be. And I don't know how to feel about that line. I always feel the opposite, you know? I always feel like he's an asshole, but he's trying not to be at times. But I don't know if that, how you guys feel about that, but and how, I don't know how true I'm meant to, how authentic I'm meant to feel that line is to the character, you know? I don't really know if that's meant to be a moment where that line is actually telling me the truth of the matter or if it's just another interpretation but I was pondering that line because I sort of feel the opposite, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. That line did bug me as well. I don't know.
Okay.
I think that was 2010 though, and not, you know.
Oh god.
Like that's like how 2010 Mark Zuckerberg was still seen as, you know.
Right. Like he's not that bad sort of thing. Okay. Maybe that plays a role in it, I suppose. One of the other things that just makes the film, of course, really exciting is the dialogue. We talked about a bit about the opening scene. I want Fitzy to speak about this because I know he watched the documentary as well, but you can tell in that scene, first of all, it's really exciting because you can barely keep up with it. I wouldn't be able to keep up with it if I didn't have subtitles on, I don't think. Totally relentless in the way the actors are just going back and forth, this conflict, this verbal conflict. And it's just one of those things where you notice that the whole thing is totally shot, reverse shot, 2-camera setup, very basic stuff in that way. But it's really, you know, Sorkin's writing and the performances that are just making it like you can't take your eyes off the screen. You know, usually there's few scenes I feel like in a movie where there's no room to breathe. You can't insert yourself. I was watching this with Jake and like there's zero, the second this movie starts, we can't get a word into each other about anything for the next 3 minutes. You know, there's no room to breathe. It's totally nonstop, and that's what's exciting about it. But I noticed specifically, I wanted to comment on the fact that the subtitles, lots of what they were saying wasn't in the subtitles. I don't know if you guys watched it that way, but
That's just how Netflix subtitles always are.
yeah,
Like,
but
you watch it on Netflix, yeah.
Yeah,
Like even for Netflix originals, like it's not a direct thing. There will be words missing, albeit this was like one of the worst ones I've seen, where like there were like phrases changed, but like, they do tend to be different. Yeah,
I took it as, I could be wrong in my understanding of the process here, but I took it as there was lots of ad lib here, and that they had just, the subtitles were the script. And there was lots of stuff that the actors are throwing in here, probably because knowing Fincher, they had to shoot this 87 times. That's what I thought it might be. I don't know if you can speak to that, Fitzy, because I'm always fascinated by Fincher doing all these takes and how it must just push the actors to the edge, but obviously adds to the scene in the end, I think. And that's what I sort of got from this one.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think it was ad lib. I can't tell you whether or not it was, but that scene was filmed. Yeah, with one camera on each person and like always in one take. And yeah, it is like just really just quick and like they're talking about 5 different things at once. So If the subtitles got something wrong, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just like you can chalk that down to speed or something.
Right. Yeah. I think it's. I mean, just I think because they're doing it so many times, I would imagine that they know it. They know the material inside and out, but they just each time you just verbalize the same line in a slightly different way. You know, you just word it slightly differently or add something here and there.
Okay,
Just speak it naturally by being totally in it and doing it over and over again. You know, that's sort of what I imagined it would be. But that's a really good scene, and all the dialogue continues to be great. One of my favorite sort of things structurally the film does is how it cuts between the two different lawsuits happening, Mark versus the Winklevoss twins and Mark versus
The
Eduardo.
Winklevi.
With the Winklevi. Yeah. I thought cutting back and forth between that and the past was cool. You can see directly how, you know, not real world accurate, but accurate to the film, how accurate their testimony is right after. You know, he said this and they cut and they're like, did he? And then not, you know, like you can see the authenticity of some of the testimony there. Right on the
The
spot.
Social Network one of the most accurate like biopics?
Is it, Fizzy?
Yeah,
no, I don't think there's much. They didn't invent much. Yeah, it's pretty like to the book. Yeah.
Like whenever I've seen like a breakdown of like biopics and like the accuracy of like things that are completely fake, semi-real, and then completely real, like Social Network was like 90% at least kind of had like the real kind of status. I don't know how accurate that is.
I mean, like there's differences with like Mark, like girlfriend and wife and stuff. I think he met his Asian wife like when he was in college, and he just like there was no Erica or whatever. But like the lawsuit stuff is all pretty accurate, I think.
I assume that's all on the record, so that's
yeah.
That's really interesting. The only trivia I saw in relation to that was the fact that when Mark Zuckerberg saw the film, that he thought there was some. I mean, of course he would. He thought there were some inaccuracies, but appreciated how accurate Jesse Eisenberg's clothing was to what he wears. Because apparently they nailed like all the shirts and stuff he wears is like exactly what Mark wears, which is pretty funny. But yeah, so I really liked all the lawsuit scene and stuff. But I guess that we can bring that to the Winklevoss twins. These guys. First of all, how do we feel about Armie Hammer's performance? And Jaden, does this whole digital replacement thing, was it something you were keeping an eye out for? Or is it something you noticed at all? Because if you're unaware, Armie Hammer plays both Tyler and what's the other one's name? Sorry, Cameron. Winklevoss. But one of them, the body is Josh Pence, and they digitally put Armie Hammer's face and performance on the other twin later, so it appears that they're both Armie Hammer. But I was just wondering if you noticed that, but, you know, regardless how you felt about these characters.
I never took note of it, but, like, I think that sometimes it was evident, like, they were selective in how they would show the twins together. Like, there would be a back of the head or there would be, like, a side of the face that they can get around it enough without doing it. It didn't happen too much. It did, but, like, you know, like, it was clear that they did try to limit having the double army in like too dynamic of scenes. But you know, like I don't think you're meant to like the Winklevoss twins. Like you're never meant to, because they're just, you know, the billionaire sons. You know, like, I just had a look before. Like they're worth like 2.1 billion now. They invested in crypto in like 2014. Like they are just the rich kids, and like it's like, you know, you're never meant to like them. And like I think like I'm actively rooting against them to lose the case, even though in all honesty they are right. You know, Mark did steal like their idea, but you know it's not even like they're unlikable guys, because like, you know, even at the start, like one of them was talking about like, you know, the gentleman's code. You know, there's like, we're humble gentlemen. You know, we don't all do all this shit. And like it's like, yeah, you're a pretty respectable dude for a you know, little rich brat, but like.
They seem like hard workers too.
Yeah, and exactly, yeah. But like, you still just don't like them, you know.
How much of that is some cannibalism getting involved? You know what I mean?
None at all. I think all that shit's fucking stupid, man.
I agree. Yeah. No, I agree. One thing I really liked about the twins actually is how they're clearly different characters. Like they clearly have different feelings towards things. And I can't right now tell you which one's which, but like in the moment I could tell you, oh yeah, Tyler feels this way about this and Cameron the other way, you know.
I was like the more the more like sporty one, or like Cameron's more like the gentleman. He like holds back. Like Tyler and his business partner, played by Max Minghella, I think. They're trying to
Yeah.
convince Cameron to like get on board with them.
Right. So Cameron is the one that eventually comes around and is like, fuck it, let's sue it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, so I really like that. There were a couple shots, I feel like, when they were rowing the boat, just to be nitpicky, where I was like, oh, I can sort of, there's some weird digital stuff going on with the one in the background there. But most of the time, though, especially when they're like, all the scenes, like the scene where they meet Mark for the first time, like I don't think there's any shots there when they're in the same shot, so it doesn't matter anyway. It's probably just Army both times. But some of the shots where they're in the little like after party thing after the rowing race, and they're like standing around amongst the group of people and they're walking in and out of rooms together, and there's some longer shots. Like, that's all fantastic. That's all like flawless. I couldn't even put a hole in that.
Wait,
and that was
really?
10 years ago.
In London, that's the only time I can see when like I can notice the digital stuff.
Oh, really?
Like, one of them turns their back and it's like really like blurry and like just weird, and you can really notice it.
Oh, okay. I honestly didn't notice that. Oh shit. Never mind. Exposed. Yeah. I didn't even notice that. But I was.
It was just like one moment. It was just one moment. Okay. Like the rest of that stuff, I do agree. It was like, really well done.
Okay. I didn't notice that.
In that after party scene, but yeah, there was one moment. I was like,
Sure. Okay. No, that's totally fair enough. I didn't see that. But Armie Hammer's good in the movie for sure. I like Armie Hammer, so I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I don't know. But yeah, no, I think he's really good. We've already talked about him in relation to Mark, of course, but Andrew Garfield playing Eduardo. By the way, never in a million years would you think that Andrew Garfield looks like an Eduardo. You know what I mean? So
the fact that Eduardo is Jewish and not, Hispanic.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. I feel like, But anyway, this character, he struck me as someone who was really genuine. Obviously really important to Mark, really important funding wise. Someone who really, he was riding the subway, speaking to ad executives. As misguided as Sean and Mark thought he was, and they're probably right business wise. You really got the sense that this guy really cares and was really passionate about the business and contributing and all that sort of thing. Obviously, a good friend. And I definitely feel sorry for what ends up happening to him, which I think you're meant to, for sure, especially in that phenomenal scene where he confronts Mark in the Facebook offices there towards the end.
He is Brazilian, sorry, but he is also he's a Jewish Brazilian. I've never seen
Eduardo is okay, all right. Yeah, it doesn't scream Andrew Garfield to me. You know what I mean? But
no, I think he's got that about him.
Sure, but but hey, you can't argue with Andrew Garfield because he delivers a great performance here. And even though Eduardo walks away with obviously a shitload of money, there's that, like, good for him, I guess. He it's an interesting balance of the empathy, I guess, where like he objectively gets screwed by his friends. Sucks. Andrew plays that really well, plays the confrontation really well. But then obviously he gets a shitload of money in the end, okay. But then I would also argue, like, I understand why he got left behind, personally. Like, he has an approach to the business, like I was sort of saying with the ad stuff, where it's like, I definitely agree with, I don't agree with how they treat him, but I agree with Sean and Mark and their perspective on them being out there on the ground in California trying to figure out what Facebook is how they describe it, and trying to just from the ground up just understand and grow it sort of organically. So I understand why he got left behind. Like, I feel like at the end of the day, he wasn't really aligned with the vision correctly, but also he funded their whole thing at that point. So, that's the compelling sort of back and forth of it, I guess. I understand everyone, don't agree with how he was treated, but yeah, I don't know. Also understand that it probably ended up working out business-wise best for the company in that way, I guess. But that was just a long rant of my opinion of Eduardo. How do you feel about him, Fitzy? Any standout moments with Andrew or anything like that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's the most likable character in the film. He just is like an extremely likable character. No, yeah, Andrew plays him really well. He's kind of, I mean, he's very like ordinary, right? He's kind of just very normal.
Yeah.
Like even the Brazilian part is like not really in the film. Like there's a weird line in the film where they say he's like they're putting him in the Phoenix Club or whatever club it is for diversity, which is like, is that like supposed to be a joke because he looks like just a white guy,
Am I meant to like? Is it like an Irishman situation where I'm just meant to buy into the idea that De Niro is playing an Irishman? Like I'm just meant to buy the idea that Andrew's Brazilian, I guess.
Well,
Right.
Would that be it?
have you seen Eduardo in real life?
No.
He does just look white. Like Brazilians do just look,
Yeah.
white.
He does look, yeah. But
Okay.
I thought it was referencing like the fact that he's Jewish, and that was like kind of I couldn't tell if it was a joke or not. But yeah, he does play well. Yeah.
I don't think it was a joke.
Aaron Sorkin, everyone. What about Sorkin's cameo in the film, by the way?
Who was he?
Yeah.
He was the one of the ad executives. The ad executive they go to when Mark's falling asleep in the meeting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, to be clear though, I don't think it's a joke that they would hire him for diversity, but I think the fact that they're hiring for him for diversity is the joke in itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I agree with you. Am I right in thinking the scene I mentioned where Eduardo confronts Mark, really intense stuff? Like, is this like a standout scene for people? Because I feel like I've seen it a few times since I saw the film. And I think it's meant to be like a standard of the film, but because I think it's really good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Yeah,
Can you
it is very
believe
good.
they diluted his shares down to 0.03%? Damn.
It was pretty nuts. I mean, still made shitloads of money. But yeah, no, absolutely. The betrayal was real. I really like, the scene, pretty simple, but well played, where it's like, what percentage were Sean Parker's shares diluted down to? They weren't. What percentage were, they go through everyone?
Yeah.
Until they get to Eduardo? Yeah, that was good. Speaking of old mate Sean Parker, Justin Timberlake's in this movie. How do we feel about this guy, about this performance? Because I think he's slimy. He's definitely an antagonist, I would say. But as in keeping with the rest of the film, it's not just like I don't just like despise the guy. Like I think he is legit. You know what I mean? Like obviously he's sort of a failed business guy with Napster, but I think he knows what he's talking about. I think most of his advice is probably right. Obviously,
does the film not imply that he's a kitty fucker?
well, there's that, I guess. I was going to get to the fact, obviously, a wild card when it comes to his moral decisions. You know what I mean? I don't know if I got that explicitly from it, but I don't know.
That's what it was.
Are you meant to?
Wild card.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think business-wise, there is some legit stuff there, in my opinion. Obviously, the most like no-brainer was when he dropped the from Facebook. It's like, oh yeah, good call, Sean. But yeah, a slimy guy overall, I think. Still with a sort of, I don't know, authentic aspect to him, but I think Justin Timberlake's really good in this role, actually. I don't know, it sort of feels like... Yeah, feels like it's... I don't want to comment on Justin Timberlake, I don't know anything about the guy, but like, personally, I mean. But I feel like he played this role very naturally, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the casting is pretty perfect. They talked about in the documentary how, like, everyone in this film was so young, so they needed to find literally like the best young actors they possibly could. They couldn't rely on experience, so yeah, like everyone just is perfectly cast. Yeah,
for sure. I'm interested. Do they talk about the decision to cast old mate JT? Because I feel like that is quite a bold choice. Because at that time, I don't know if he'd really had any performances of note on film or anything. Because that feels like quite a ballsy decision to cast him.
I don't know. It's a good documentary. You should watch it.
Well, I was curious about it. I feel like I would obviously really like it because I always like that stuff. But I'm glad I feel like I can turn to you for the behind the scenes stuff for once, Fitzy. I'm excited about it. Were there any other main like takeaways from the documentary that were like stand out really interesting to you?
Well, they had the writers' room and like conversations between Sorkin and Fincher, and it was about like the process of Fincher like telling actors like what each word kind of means. It was more like an analysis of the details rather than like the overall picture,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Were anyone, whether I don't know how it was formatted, but like cast or anyone sort of talking about how Fincher was directing them or like what he was I guess I'm just curious of what his mindset was. If anyone had any insight into how he was approaching a lot of these just dialogue back and forth scenes and what he was trying to, what direction he was giving and what, like, I don't know if any of the actors talked about it, maybe, for example, because I'm always obsessed with, especially with Fincher, all the takes he does, as an example.
Yeah, I mean, he was like, the documentary just showed him like constantly talking to the actors, I guess. Like, they had a lot of talk about, like, I don't know, what I'm CEO bitch, like, would Mark say this? Like, what does that mean? They talked about, like, when they talked about having sympathy for Mark, like, Sorkin was bringing up the point of, like, would we feel sympathetic for a guy who's made all this money? Is this successful? But like, he's not taken as seriously by adults or something. And that's what the CEO bitch kind of line refers to. And I don't know, it was very like detail oriented.
I thought it was cool. I sort of took at the end in terms of when he has "I'm CEO bitch" on his business card. He sort of, at the end, when he seems sort of disgruntled by it at the end, like by the fact he did it. When he was sort of turning it over was my interpretation. So I sort of assumed that was because I sort of thought he got that vibe from Sean, maybe, and like he was sort of just regretting the whole decision and just feeling remorse towards, that immaturity that sort of gave into pushing Eduardo out. That's sort of how I interpreted it, but because there was definitely something going on there of how he was sort of reacting to his past decision to put that on the card,
Yeah, at that moment, it definitely like refers to Sean. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
For sure.
I can hear you some trivia here. Jesse Eisenberg, who is diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder, said in an interview that one of the hardest things about this role was having to deliberately speak and behave in a manner he had struggled against in his own personal life for his entire life. So, another little wrinkle to the performance there, for sure. Jesse's performance in that regard was great. Like at the start when he's talking about 5 different things at once and you can't keep track of what the hell he's talking about, neither can Erica. I felt that because it was a lot. So he nailed that part. Another bit of trivia here. This is great. David Fincher's favourite line in the film is, "I'm just checking your math in that. Yes, I got the same thing." Well, this is when they're in the deposition with the twins, right? And they're like 18,000 plus 1,000 equals 19,000, I think. That was a really good line for sure. During one of the depositions, I wonder if you guys were thinking about this. I was curious about it. During one of the depositions, it was mentioned that the invention of Facebook made Mark Zuckerberg, I was going to say Zark Zuckerberg, the biggest thing on a campus that included 15 prize winners, 2 future Olympians, and a movie star. One of the lawyers then asks, who was the movie star? The movie star was in fact Natalie Portman, who was enrolled at Harvard at the time and helped screenwriter Aaron Sorkin by providing inside information about the goings-on at Harvard at the time that Facebook first appeared. So there you go. Was anyone putting in guesses when that line was dropped in the movie?
I knew.
Yeah.
Oh, you just knew.
Because from the last time I watched it, I read that. So yeah.
But
damn.
there was like a deleted scene where when the like in the face mash sequence, like one of the people say, "Of course she's hot. She's Natalie Portman," but they cut that.
That's funny. Yeah, I must say, Bill Gates had a cameo in this movie, which
Was that real
I did
Bill
not remember
Gates?
at all. It was him.
Was it?
I was gonna say
Yeah.
it looks a lot like him. I was like,
I don't think it was. Was it actually?
Wait. Oh, hang on. Wait. Oh, really? Are we saying it's not? It looked dead on like him. Do you think that they got someone that looks what? I mean, I guess I don't know actually that it was, but like it looked like it was Bill Gates as far as I was concerned. I saw him there. Like,
Okay.
I just wanted to say that when that girl started leaning over and talking to Eduardo,
it is not
during
Bill
Bill
Gates.
Gates' it is not?
Ah.
Really? So was it just someone they got to wait? Well, so are you saying it's actually someone else in the scene, or did they just get footage from some? Really? Wow.
Just some random dude.
Wow.
Yeah, because like
they got me.
In the documentary, you can hear his voice as well. It doesn't sound like Bill Gates.
Oh, okay.
But
they got me good. I thought it was him, 100%. Nice. Good job, guys. Okay, yeah, I guess why would Bill Gates turn up for this? I guess anyway. Anyway, when that girl started leaning over and talking to Eduardo, dude, are you kidding me? I'd tell her to shut the fuck up. It's Bill Gates is speaking right now, and you're like, want to have a casual chat? Are you serious? You know, unbelievable.
I mean, I think she wants more than a casual chat, but yeah.
I want to give a shit, dude. Bill, mate, chat to be after. It's Bill Gates, all right. You know what I mean? Should we get to Andy's review for The Social Network?
Did he leave a review?
Was that a no? Was that a? Did I just hear Fitzy say he doesn't give a shit about Andy's review?
I didn't know that. No, yeah, that was a yes. I said. Didn't know he did a review.
Andy wrote in a review for The Social Network, and he said, "Genuinely one of the greatest biopics I have ever hooked myself into for a long time." Actually, you know what? Quick pause. Is this a biopic? I feel like I wouldn't call it that personally, but maybe I'm wrong on my definition.
Well, what would you define it as?
I don't know, based on the true story of how Facebook was, the framing of Facebook. I feel like a biopic.
Picture, it's a...
Yeah, no, that's fair. I guess I just view a biopic as specifically like about one person's life, But is that too strict of a definition?
Probably too strict.
Okay, fair enough. Because I wouldn't say this film. I know obviously Mark Zuckerberg's the main character, but I wouldn't say this film's about Mark Zuckerberg's journey or whatever.
I don't think of it as a biopic, but I guess within like some definitions, it could be called a biopic. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Okay, during those last 15 minutes where Garfield's character confronts Mark, it had my favourite form of bullying in cinema. Rapid and lean screenplay here from Mr. Sorkin that slightly overshadows David Fincher's strong direction. Jesse Eisenberg's career best performance, his fast-mouthed nonsense, fits this Mark Zuckerberg role really well. It suits Sorkin's writing, and the sharp, quick cuts are so well utilised in dialogue scenes. Yeah, for sure. Jesse also pairs up so well with Andrew Garfield's Eduardo, that bacon count freezing idiot who likes ads. Justin Timberlake, Sean Parker with a memorable character intro and ending too. And I love the back and forth between the flashbacks and the office-like courtroom. Exactly. I totally agree, Andy. This biopic just keeps me wondering throughout the entire film whether Mark is a horrible bloke. So what if he's an asshole? If he wasn't an asshole, he wouldn't get very far in this world, I bet. For next week's episode, I'm very much looking forward to hearing your opinions and thoughts on each character or person because they're real-life people, I guess. And perhaps share your stance on who's right and who's wrong. Imagine being pro-Eduardo, though. Gosh, I would hate to be that chicken that was carried by him for a whole week. I'd want to be cooked by KFC already. 10 out of 10. Thank you, Andy. That was a great review.
So Andy's just believing the propaganda from the Hilton,
absolutely.
Or the Crimson, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Just bought into it. By the end, are we meant to think that it was Mark who ratted him out on the chicken thing?
No, because Mark defends him. Yeah,
but then there's another line later where I think they imply Mark did do it.
Back when it flashes back to the founding again and out of the lawsuit, I think he brings it up again.
Yeah.
But by that point we know that, Mark's someone that already defended him on the fact, when it's more important.
But I guess was he defending him because he felt guilty that he did it, that he dobbed him in for it? Like he dobbed him in because it happened, I assume. With the well, it did happen with the chicken. He dobbed him in, but then he was defending it like it wasn't so bad of guilt afterwards. I guess I don't know. I guess it's possible.
I don't even see I know that we're meant to probably think that he would do it, but that's so petty, man. I mean, would he do that? Probably. I mean, the whole film kind of spends the time saying that he would do that. He could do it rather.
Well, it's the chicken thing is perfect timing as well, because that's when Eduardo is getting invitations to the Phoenix Club, and Mark's trying to do his own thing with Facebook, right? He's not trying to put ads on it. And I think that's when Eduardo starts insisting about ads. It's he did this thing with the chicken. And he taunts him about it. He reads the whole thing and we can't have you, around doing this with this chicken.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't seem like he did it, but also he might have. So I don't know.
I think he might have liked that it happened, but probably I don't know that if he did it though.
I guess it's one of those things where again, not an expert on the real life stuff, but presuming it's pretty accurate, as Jaden says, like I presume in real life, like that happened, and no one actually knows if Mark Zuckerberg did it or not. You know what I mean? So the film just leaves it ambiguous as well. But yeah, no, I was wondering about that as well. I think, yeah, Mark, clearly an asshole, guys. Come on. Thank you for the review, though, Andy. Yeah, and I totally agree with you, Andy. Like the thing that we've sort of tried to do here, and I think that is the most interesting to come out talking about the film about, is about just how you feel about each character and how you feel about the events, because the film is quite clear about stuff, but also quite unbiased, and you sort of take it as you will, as we've tried to do. Anything about the music that anyone noticed?
Oh yeah, best soundtrack of all time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like people people throw that around a lot for this movie. Is it actually, or are they like?
It's definitely like my top 10 soundtracks of all time for sure.
Super solid, but like
yeah, I listen to this shit like by itself.
Of the soundtracks you listen to, this is the one, huh?
Yeah. Oh, I'm not listening to fucking ambient sounds from Arrival. I'm sorry, Jaden. Sorry, I don't fit your shit. Yeah.
This guy's never heard a Kevin Kiner score, Jaden. But yeah.
Actually, he wouldn't have you? No,
I guess not.
Is that a Star Wars thing?
Yeah,
cringe.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I brought it up then. I noticed I liked like the ominous sort of piano theme over the beginning credits. I liked that. Yeah, it was good.
I just like it's another Fincher movie that's just like so wonderfully cold, just snow, rain.
Yes.
Just constantly bleak.
Absolutely. His signature grading. I'm telling you, dude, we're on to something with the grading, I'm telling you, absolutely. All right, let's get to our final verdicts for The Social Network. Jaden.
I'm sticking with my 9 on it. I think it's extraordinary. I think it's another strong thing in Fincher's catalogue. I think it's the strongest of Sorkin's work that I've seen. Not that I've seen a lot of it. Just brilliant performances from everyone. It just really is just a fantastic product about something that, like, I don't know if you guys remember it back in 2010, but like I remember going to like video stores back when they were around with like my cousins, and like they were older than me, and like they would rent that out, and I'd be like, who the fuck wants to watch a movie about Facebook? And now look at it.
Yeah, it's totally true. I'll give it a strong. I'll give it a strong 7. I think it's a really, really good movie. It's just one of those movies where, like, I also understand why I didn't really remember a lot about it, because it's one of those movies where I'm locked in. You turn it on, I can't look away, which, like, I guess by some definition should be a 10 out of 10. But then, like, it finishes, and I sort of don't really remember feeling a lot about it, So it's just like, and I loved this conversation, helped a ton. Like, I really enjoyed talking about it, but I don't know, it's more of like an intellectual exercise than like than something that like really like resonates with me, I guess. But no, it's a really, really good movie, and I'm so glad you mentioned about Aaron Sorkin as well, because I haven't seen. I feel like The West Wing is anything I need to see.
Yeah, but The West Wing is like fucking 7 seasons of television, I mean.
Yeah, but it's meant to be amazing. I'm definitely going to watch it, but at some point. But yeah, of the limited Sorkin sample size I have, as revered as he is, I agree this is his best stuff that I've seen. My thoughts on Trial of Chicago 7 are out there in the universe. So yeah. Fincy, what about you?
I'll stick to an 8. I'll give it an 8. Yeah, I just think it's great,
Let's get into news chat. I saw that Luke has already requested a Star Wars Celebration recap, to Fitzy's dismay. But
we only got one day,
there's
going to be more.
We're 1 day in.
Yeah,
absolutely. This is definitely the main stuff we're going to get though from that opening panel. Yeah, their opening panel. I mean, there'll probably be some tidbits for sure, but this was the meat of it for sure. So let's take it one thing at a time. They had the opening Lucasfilm panel where they sort of just broke down the future of everything. They showed a ton of stuff I'm not even going to bring up. So they showed Andor season 2. They showed the Acolyte and all that stuff. I've watched all that stuff leaked on iPhones. Not worth talking about. You can go and find it if you want.
Wait, there was a live stream this time,
not
wasn't
officially released.
What are you talking about?
There was not. We were talking about this. Nah, they fucked us over again, James.
I saw a YouTube live stream from Lucas.
Yeah. They stream from the show floor, but the panels were not on the screen.
Bastards.
Yeah, absolute bastards, no doubt. So anyway, I enjoyed watching the Acolyte trailer on someone's phone, as of course, as you'd expect. But anyway, In terms of the stuff that we can actually talk about, let's take it one by one. We've got the next slate of Star Wars films were announced last night. First of all, let's go with Dawn of the Jedi, a Dawn of the Jedi movie. This film is set 25,000 years ago, before the events of the films.
Is this before or after Rise of the Jedi?
What?
Because like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, damn. Shit. Yeah, Rise of the... Yeah, that's what the sequel's going to be called, and we're going to be really confused. James Mangold is writing and directing this film. To be clear, the three films that they announced, they've currently got a schedule of December 2025, 2027, and 2029 released windows. We don't know which one's exactly which one's going to fit in where. But just to give you an idea, the first one will be coming out in 2.5 years. Okay, first one is Dawn of the Jedi. Jaden, what does this do for you? This is something that has obviously been thrown out there as like a dream, sort of no-brainer spin-off project to go to the dawn of the Force and the origins of all this shit, man.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like, I don't really know much about this period or anything.
No one does. It's totally being invented.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it might be like some EU stuff that, like, that got cancelled out. No. Well, I don't know. I do like James though. He was the Logan guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If he can do that, I can trust him with Star Wars.
And it's clear that they, no doubt, a huge part of them hiring him for this was his work on Indy, which no one's seen yet except them. So they obviously have a lot of faith in him, having directed that film. If they're going with this, he described it as a biblical-like story in terms of
fun.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of the way, I guess, the sort of the context of how he's going to be tackling the origins of the Jedi. Fitzy, is this something you'd ever want to see on screen? Well, I guess you're going to, but in terms of going back to the origins of the Jedi 25,000 years.
Not really. I mean, doesn't it take like something away from the, mysterious powers of the Force? Isn't it kind of the same thing as like explaining midichlorians,
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to explain the Force in that way. It's just about the origins of the I don't know, of the Order. You know what I mean? Of like these people coming together. I guess
a film that was like explaining the origin of the Force, but if that's not what it is, then
Dawn of the Jedi is what it is. So I assume the Force is going to play a role. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be like breaking down the Force.
Do you think we'll get cameos from like the Bendu and like the Mortis people?
The Mortis people? Can you, dude? Now that you've said that, it seems like a no-brainer. Like, I don't know how heavily they'd be involved, but like,
well, it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
It is
biblical.
Yes. But it has. But I just wonder, like, I don't think they're going to be characters per se, but like have it sort of like tie in some way into like Mortis is mentioned or involved in some way. That'd be awesome. That's I hadn't even thought about that. That's awesome. I'm excited for this. This is a no-brainer direction to take a spin-off of a Star Wars movie for me, for sure. So. And the idea of going so far back, totally original stuff. This is what I want to see from Star Wars, man. So, and of course on screen, like if this was announced as a show, it would be a little step down. But give me the whole theatrical experience, I'm down for sure. Okay, second film is the Mandoverse finale movie. Dave Filoni is directing a Star Wars movie. I can't believe it. I texted Jaden last night.
Yeah.
I could not believe my eyes. I was so excited for him just because obviously, I love Dave's work, and to see him go from the guy who was an animator on the Avatar: The Last Airbender hired by George Lucas to now he's going to be directing a theatrical Star Wars movie. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. So huge props to him, of course. He deserves it. But his film, quote, will focus on the New Republic and close out the interconnected stories told in The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and other Disney Plus series. This is they talked about years ago, the idea that they were going to, they were talking about all the Mandoverse shows leading to a culmination event is what they talked about. And this is it. So I'm glad that they finally brought it up again and confirmed it. I don't know what this does for you, Jaden.
Well, I'm not the biggest fan of Mando or Boba Fett stuff, but like the fact that it ties up Ahsoka, and it'll finally, and like the fact that it ties up Ahsoka, and by that means it ties up Rebels. Yeah, like I'm very keen for that.
And it's Dave.
Dave.
It's not someone else handling that stuff. Yeah.
If anyone's to bring Kevin back to Star Wars, it'll be Dave.
Can you imagine if Kevin scores the film?
He'll score the film.
He better, man. Well, we'll see if he scores Ahsoka first. That'll be the real sign.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
That'll be the real sign. If he does, though, I think we're on. We'll see. This is cool. I guess it just depends how you're feeling about the shows. We'll talk about Ahsoka in a second. So yeah, I'm very excited for Dave. Very excited about the possibilities of this, but obviously it's hard to say exactly. We'll see where the story ends up in. There'll be bloody 50 more seasons of this shit before we even get here. So that's sort of a whole discussion that has to be wait to be seen. But this will I assume tie in Skeleton Crew as well, because when it says the other shows, that's the only other one that fits in this spot, in the timeline. Okay, the final movie. This was sort of not surprising, but sort of really surprising to me at the same time, I guess, because it's the Stephen Knight film that we talked about a few weeks ago. Sort of the one that's been rumored the longest, it's been talked about the longest, that we've known the most about. Confirmed to be directed by Charmaine Obaid-Chinoy, who's the lady from Miss Marvel. She's been everyone's been talking about her. She's going to have been directing this film for quite a while. This is the same one as the Damon Lindelof film, but he stepped away from it. But we now know what it is, and it's a new Jedi Order movie set 15 years after the events of The Rise of Skywalker, and Daisy Ridley is back as Rey, and she's the lead of this movie. That part, I was like, wow, good for them. Like I was not expecting that, to be honest. Like I was expecting, we talked about this, I think last year sometime, that I was expecting this movie to be set after Rise, but I thought it'd be new characters and more time after Rise. I wasn't expecting just 15 years and Rey to then go all in on this, but I think it's really cool. I'm definitely into the idea.
Yeah, I can't believe that Daisy Ridley is back is back into it so quickly.
Exactly. That I totally agree with that, because I've always thought they'll all be back, but I thought it'd be more of like a prequel situation where like Ewan comes back 15 years later. You know what I mean? She's back quick, which is cool.
The thing is, by the time it comes, like let's assume this is going to be the 2029 release. Like it will have been 10 years. Yeah,
that's true. That's weird. You're right though. I think this will be 27 personally, just because.
You think Dave's going to be 29?
That's a good point. This might be 25. But okay, I think Dawn of the Jedi is 29. To be clear, because
really?
Because they also announced, Mangold also announced this morning he's directing Swamp Thing for DC. So I think his is the furthest. Okay. So yeah. I don't know which one's which, but it's an interesting question. I guess you could try and work it out. Maybe how many seasons of Mando you think there are left.
Hopefully
whatever.
0.
John seems to think there's going to be 8 more. So I don't know. So yeah, but yes. Regardless, though, this will fit in. Probably 8 years or somewhere in there.
Okay.
Away from it. So I'm definitely excited by the possibility of this. I'm really glad that they're, at the end of the day, not shying away, giving people a bit of everything, I guess. It's not like people aren't going to be into this, so that's cool. But hopefully they like, they like the 2 other things they announced, because they're all so different, I guess, is my main takeaway. And people are definitely going to be happy about this, and I'm glad that they get it. But I don't know if the idea of like specifically Rey building the Jedi Order does anything story-wise for you guys where you're like, oh, I want to see that on screen necessarily,
I've always liked Rey. I've always liked the sequels and all that. I'm happy for it. I'm keen for it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Do I need to go to Fitzy, or is he number 1 Rise of Skywalker haters just going to be mad at Daisy? Do you have any words for Daisy Ridley?
Yeah, I don't mind. It's fine.
Those were the 3 films they announced. It's just good to finally have some Star Wars movies on the slate. You know what I mean? They've been fucking around for so long. Notable that Taika Waititi's nowhere to be seen.
Thank God.
Just saying. that obviously it was another 15th example of something clearly falling apart, I think. Okay, let's talk about this Ahsoka trailer, Jaden. Take me anywhere you want. I was just really happy with it. I was really excited by it, and so clear that it's the Rebels sequel series that we've been waiting for sure.
Well, I'm going to take you somewhere that you really didn't think so. Did they do something weird with Ahsoka's eyes in live action? Like that
definitely wasn't expecting.
Like they put some weird contact lens in, right?
Yeah, they're contacts for sure.
But like they're not the right color. Like they're like
What
this.
color are I don't know.
They're like
What color are
this
eyes meant to
faded
be?
blue, like right in live action. They're like this faded blue type thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know what they're meant to be.
In the cartoons, they're brown, man.
Are they?
Yeah, I swear they are.
Don't know. Don't know. I honestly don't notice characters' eyes at all.
It just every time I see it, it just like I'm just like, oh, I guess they are blue, but like they just look wrong. Like her eyes look wrong, man. No, they
Her
don't.
eyes do. Her eyes are noticeable in live action. I'll say that. But I guess
In the poster and in
I
the
agree.
trailer, it looks really odd. I'm just saying. It just get out of my head.
You're right. I was not expecting that. What did you think about some of the glimpses you saw here? Because
I thought it was fantastic. I
awesome. Yeah.
Exactly what you said. It is a Rebel sequel because like it looks like we've got like some Inquisitors type characters that are going to be present. You know, with that big dude and with the other people that you see around. Seeing Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Hera was interesting. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. I think I'm good.
I'm with you.
Sabine was interesting. They've grown out her hair, which I'm like, sure.
Sure.
It wasn't once again what it wasn't what I was expecting, but
Yeah.
We
saw Lothal, which was awesome.
Lothal and the Loth
The
Cat,
tower?
and we saw
awesome.
Thrawn. Thrawn was
We
a big
did.
one. Do we have a confirmed
him.
actor on that now or not?
No, and I saw.
I was trying to look at the back of his head, and I was like, "Is that
Yeah.
Lars?"
I was on Star Wars leaks last night on the Reddit, and it's like the only Reddit I go to, and the first comment was like, "Get me 100 pictures of the back of Lars Mickelson's head and do a comparison," because that's exactly what you have to do. Yeah,
yeah. I think that's probably like the most exciting thing, to be honest. Just Thrawn's back. Thrawn's back in a big capacity. It's not like even like he's like they've found him, and he needs to get back into it. Like he's back and he's big. I was like,
absolutely. They called him the heir to the Empire.
mm.
Huge shout out to our legends there, of course. But I think Thrawn's going to end up being the villain of Dave's movie. I think
You reckon?
is what it's. I think so. I think it's going to be Dave's movie is going to be Avengers where Thrawn is Thanos. I think.
But does that mean like the Mandalorian is going to be there as well? And Grogu's going to be there
in the movie.
Yeah,
100%. Oh, no doubt they're going to be. Yeah,
that's
they mean like central characters. Yeah, that is unfortunate. Grogu being there is unfortunate. If I have to watch him do backflips, man, that's going to be unfortunate.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Just please, keep it on the Rebels crew, please.
Yeah, the thing is, you need to sideline all these new characters and keep it on Rebels. Like honestly.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the job of the show. To sort of get us there in that way. But yeah, no, Thrawn was obviously a huge takeaway. But yeah, the Dark Jedi were interesting. I wonder, I saw people saying that they could be some sort of because they weren't Inquisitors. Their lightsabers were weird. They weren't exactly red. So,
well, I mean, was that not just stylized stuff? That they weren't just entirely red?
No, I think it's on purpose.
Oh, okay.
I think so. I had the same thought, but I think it's on purpose. And I saw some people speculating that they might be like Dark Jedi that are trying to bring back. They're looking for Thrawn to restore him, basically, which is interesting. Makes sense. We're looking for Ezra. They're looking for Thrawn, sort of colliding. Makes sense to me. So yeah, I'm so stoked for this, man. I hope it delivers. I needed this trailer, to be honest. I know we've been talking in past weeks about some of our sort of fading hopes in the or for my fading hopes in the Mandalorian, and still being excited for this show, but hopeful and hoping that it wasn't going to drop the ball. And I needed this trailer to really reaffirm that optimism. I think that's all of Star Wars. Fitzy, you can rejoice because I'm going to ask you about this Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 trailer that you watched. What did you think of this?
I don't know. It kind of told you who the villain was, but it also didn't really give too much away about what it was about. So, okay. the animation looked pretty sick, but not much to say about it really.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple, different Spider-Man. Couple.
You'd hope so.
The trailer played a bit too much on like memes and stuff, but. It was
I saw that there was a screenshot of Spooderman in there.
Oh, really?
I didn't even know that.
This movie's going to be whack. I just want to throw this out there. I feel so. This happened. I think it was this morning or last night. Bloomberg dropped an article, of course, a reputable publication. I need to throw this to the room. It's not like super concrete, like news or anything, but there's this report from Bloomberg that I can't wait to see Jaden's face. Warner Brothers Discovery are close to a deal for a new TV series, a new Harry Potter TV series
Oh, right.
for HBO Max, where they're going to be rebooting it and adapting the books, one season per book. Did you? Oh, you heard about this? You heard about this?
Yeah, this was a few days ago, wasn't it?
Was it? Oh shit! Oh yeah, it was. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
But
I'm done.
the other thing is that this isn't new news. Like a few years ago, we talked about HBO potentially adapting Harry Potter as a series.
We're not them adapting the books.
Yeah.
Like it was them rebooting it.
Yes.
I've never heard about this.
I can guarantee you, a few years ago, we talked about this, and we talked about casting. We talked about why would you do it because you have the perfect thing there.
Really?
We've talked about this before. And
Really?
That's why I'm shocked why everyone's like kind of surprised about it, because we've talked about HBO potentially rebooting it years ago.
Really? Oh wow! I honestly, I don't know if you're dreaming it, or more likely, I've just totally forgotten along with everyone else. I had no idea. I had no idea. Okay. When I saw this, I thought it was new, and when I saw it, I was outraged. To be honest, I was like, "This is ridiculous." But I guess I don't know.
We've talked about this. I swear we've talked about it.
Okay. That's all right. That's fine. I thought it was totally absurd, but what do I know? Like, don't you just make new shit? You know what I mean? It's Harry Potter.
The thing is, like, obviously that's like the common sentiment, but like, there's also a sentiment of like back in the days of peak Tumblr, I remember like people like saying like, you know, oh my god, like why don't we have a Harry Potter TV series because peak form of, you know, one book per season, you know, obviously get way more detail into it and all. So, you know, like there is like an audience for it that of people that did want to have like a greater adaptation of the books.
I don't know. I feel like the movies are perfectly sufficient with that, but I don't know. Maybe people are hardcore, love their little details and shit. That
I think there's enough details that have been left out that you can warrant an extended look, but like a full season for these things is going to be long.
It's going to be long, and warrant an extended look. Maybe in like 50 years. You know what I mean? Like, why now? It's so soon. I don't know.
Well, the fan base is now, you know.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know, man. I needed to bring it up. I needed to vent about it a little bit. Let's get into our highlights of the week. Fitzy, what have you been watching?
I've been watching Line of Duty. Jaden's seen it, very true.
I take it Jaden knew about this already because he's.
We chatted a bit last night.
Got it. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I watched like 3 seasons, was it? 3.5. No, it's a very great show. It's very it's like extremely addictive, extremely bingeable. It's very like morally like intense kind of show, and it's like very frustrating at times, just because of how much manipulation is happening. The whole thing is about like corrupt police officers and like, you know, people kind of taking evidence and like, you know, removing it or changing it and like that kind of thing, and that kind of thing is very annoying, but it's also like very just very satisfying show, and very just it's great.
Nice. That shit does sound really annoying. I agree. I finished The Patient this week. I know, Fitzy, you brought this up late last year, I think, right?
Oh yeah.
What did you think about it again? Sorry, I was trying to remember.
I thought it was alright. Like the two, like Dom Gleeson was good, but like it kind of fell a bit flat at the end, especially with like the Jewish stuff. But it was okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, I agree. It was okay. It was cool. The premise was interesting, and I thought, and we were sort of guessing the whole time about, you know, I think the main question about, you know, how he was going to get out of it, you know, because if you don't know, the premise is that this serial killer basically kidnaps his therapist, played by Steve Carell, and kidnaps him in his home and like wants him to basically make him not a serial killer. And so, you know, that raises interesting questions of like, what's going to happen? How is Steve going to get out of this? You know, and we were guessing the entire time, and the resolution to that specific aspect of it was solid. It didn't feel like a cop out or anything, so that's good. Yeah, the rest of it, like I get what it was going for, some interesting themes, but like didn't blow me away by any means. Towards the end, I don't know, sort of one of those things where like, not so much to the extent of other shows, but where I was like, I don't know, well, it lost me a little bit towards the end. Like maybe make. I know they're like 20-minute episodes, but like, can we make it even shorter? I don't know if I'm getting impatient with this shit, but like sometimes I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like so we need all of these scenes. But it was okay. Like, it was a decent watch for sure. Yeah. Liam, sorry, Jaden, what about you?
I watched quite a lot of things I'd like to talk about, but I think I'll talk about like the most exciting thing, which was I watched Blood Rain, which are you familiar with the Blood Rain games, Finny?
No, these are games.
Yeah, these are games. I don't know much about them anyway, but so Blood Rain is a Uwe Boll movie, and I don't know. Do you guys know that name? No.
Yeah,
No. Yeah, so Uwe Boll loves adapting video games really fucking poorly, and he's been given like 35 attempts at it, man. Like he's adapted so many games and he's just done it so poorly every time. Like he's got to be like a money laundering like kind of go-to in Hollywood. But this movie is crazy. Like the only reason I watched this first one is because I want to watch Blood Rain 3, which is where so Blood Rain, so Rain, the main character, she's a half vampire that goes around killing other vampires because she hates vampires.
Okay.
And the only reason I want to watch this one is to get to the third one where she's killing Nazi vampires because I think that'd be fucking sick. But like this movie in itself is nuts in its cast. Like, because like if you know about Uwe Boll, he makes terrible movies. But then you look at the cast, and the cast includes Michael Madsen, it includes Ben Kingsley, it includes Udo Kier, it includes Meatloaf, it includes Michelle Rodriguez. Like it is a fucking insane cast for this movie. But then it gets crazier because you look at the writer for the film. The writer is Genevieve Guinevere. Hold on, wait, let me look at the name. Guinevere Turner. And does that name pop up? Does that ring any bells for you guys? It's the woman that wrote American Psycho.
Okay.
And you're like, how do you go from writing American Psycho, which like I wasn't a big fan of, but you very very well recognized as being a fantastic film, great story, great screenplay, whatever, into writing this? It's nuts. And then like you look at it and it's like apparently like in interviews she's spoken about how like she was only writing a draft and like they demanded the draft from her at that point, and then they took the draft, shot off that, but then they changed everything from the draft anyway. But the fact that you go from like American Psycho to then Blood Rain is fucking nuts to me anyway. And like this movie is just like, it is so poor. Like I know what I'm getting into with Uwe Boll. Like I've watched that one in the dark, whatever it's called. I can't remember. Like everyone knows what you're expecting when you're watching a movie. And like to be fair to him, like this is one of his better kind of films, but like it's still just not good. And like it is the cheapest of fantasy kind of things you can make because it just does look so cheap. But I like it's something. It feels something that I've been looking for because I have been wanting to like kind of watch these like kind of schlocky kind of 80s B fantasy movies, and like this kind of does it instead. But the fact that it's 20 years later with an A-list cast, but it just has that same kind of quality to it. And it's a bad movie, but like it's a pretty decent time. It is very camp. It is very exploitive. It's just like it's just I don't know, man. Like it's you can never watch it, but like it did fill a fulfillment for me, of wanting to find this kind of schlocky fantasy kind of thing.
That's unbelievable. I've never heard of this. I just looked up. Apparently, like there's the whole series of games starting on PS2. Never heard of these games in my life. Apparently, there's a remastered one that came out not long ago. These have slipped me by. That's incredible. My God, I feel like so.
The reason why video games movie have a bad rap is because of Uwe Boll.
Yeah. So what else did he do? Sorry.
Let me pull it up. So he did his most famous one is House of the Dead. House of the Dead. Do you know that game?
No.
It's like a zombie game on an island, I'm pretty sure. Alone in the Dark. Do you know that game?
No. Is he just
he has adapted games? He's adapted Far Cry as well, which is obviously Far Cry.
Far Cry has a movie? What's going on here?
I think Rampage is a game.
Yeah, Rampage.
Yeah, Rampage. Yeah, so he adapted that.
So he directed Rampage, the one with The Rock.
No, not that Rampage. A different Rampage.
Oh, but the one with The Rock is based on the game too.
Yeah, but that's a different type of Rampage as well, I think.
Oh, okay, all right, sure.
Let me go to the IMDb and see if this has a game.
It's unbelievable. Oh yeah, I've never seen Far Cry as a film. Yeah, I'm looking at it right
now. But yeah,
Holy
you know the type of films like this is what he does, and it's
Okay, yeah, I'm getting vibes from looking at this Far Cry page for sure.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
3.2 out of 10.
Oh yeah, man. His movie like none of his movies are well reviewed.
But good for him, man. He's making them. You know what I mean? He's out there. He's still going. Is he? I don't know. Is he still going?
No, I think he retired in like 2016, but then he came out of semi-retirement, kind of for like a TV series maybe. But yeah, I think he's kind of stopped at this point.
Oh my god! I think he needs to. Apparently, according to his IMDb, he's got a film. He's a director of in production right now.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Apparently, to the dismay of you. Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I don't hate it. The idea of him making like because you need bad movies, you need bad video game movies. Like, it needs to exist. Like, I don't like Alone in the Dark was a terrible experience, but like Blood Rain, like I didn't mind. So I mean, like I'm not going to really complain too much.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, we need to keep these people employed. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Now comes the time, the segment, where we hand the show over to you with our question of the show. Last week we asked you, what is your least favourite social media platform? By God, there's some quality potential here. Luke said, TikTok. It breeds Timothy Chalamet try-hard e-boy earring wearing cross necklace, curly hair looking fucks. Wow, that was strong. Jesus. Oh my God. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we've already debated the whole Timothy being an e-boy thing, but regardless, just you could have just said TikTok, Luke, and I feel like everyone would be fine with that as well. Aiden said, the comment sections of Twitter and Facebook, god awful. Oh yeah, no doubt. Some of the worst places, dude. I feel like it's not fair just to say the comment sections. Like, at the end of the day, Twitter and Facebook, they facilitate these comment sections. It's a vital feature of their platforms. Therefore, us, But yes, absolutely terrible places, no doubt. Andy said, my least favourite social media would probably be Facebook because my relatives are on it and they tried to call me a few times, but I didn't answer. Now I avoid going on it. Andy, I think you need to reach out, man. You know what I mean? I think your family cares about you. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, yous thought I was going to go for TikTok, I bet. No, I didn't really know. But TikTok, of course, is a very sound answer. Liam, are you going to choose TikTok?
No, I don't have enough experience with TikTok to know how bad it is. But I don't know. Probably Twitter, just because it doesn't like fulfill like the basic like functions of a social media platform like Facebook and Instagram do.
Yeah.
Like Twitter, like I don't feel like you can follow your friends as much on Twitter. I mean, obviously you can, but it doesn't do as much. It's not like you're sharing. It just feels more public,
Yeah, I guess people like to use this as a news feed, like a curated feed of information, I guess. But
I know you stopped using Twitter a while ago, Finny. But do you still use it as well, Liam, or not?
No, not really.
Like, ever since Elon's bought it, it has gone down the toilet because, like, the feed has just changed so horrendously.
Really?
Yeah. Because, like, he's now split it into, like, a For You and a Following tab. But neither tab is like the previous, just, like, general kind of feed you would get. Because the For You is, like, kind of trying to curate it the way that TikTok would do it based on likes and kind of who you're following. And then the Following is exclusively who you're following. Like, it doesn't have that appropriate mix of, like, who you're following, what's been liked, and then, like, like recommendations anymore. It's just
okay.
It's gone down the drain a bit.
Okay. I mean, I'm not saying you're convincing me to use Twitter, but that sort of sounds better to me because I could never stand just seeing all the tweets of people I follow and what they liked. Like, I don't give a shit what people I follow. I don't want to see what they liked. I don't give a shit. I just want to see what they tweet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The For You tab might be For You then.
Right. Yeah. It might be.
It still has that. It still has that stuff about, like, there are still, like, things about likes and retweets and all that shit. But, like, It's not the
Okay.
same.
Okay. Yeah, no, Twitter's sound hands. I can't stand Twitter, man. That's why I obviously stop. It's Twitter's the one I'm probably most invested in because it's the one that it's the only one I ever really used, I would say, frequently. Like I used to check Twitter, I don't know, every day for like probably 15 to 20 minutes maybe, you know. So like that's the most I've ever really been invested in a platform. So therefore for me to have the most investment in of all of them and then go to needing to get off it is that's my story with it. So I think it's pretty clear that I'm not a fan. So yeah, that's a sound answer for sure. I have to say, mine overall, God, there's good answers, but mine overall has to be Facebook. Dude, Facebook is arse. Like I honestly don't think there's a redeeming quality about Facebook at all. You know what I mean? Like Twitter, you can make the argument that, if you curate it the right way and you have the right purpose and you go in with the right mindset of what you want it to be for you, you can make the argument that Twitter could work. And I do understand that. Facebook is just, first of all, you can't even use it. It's inoperable. The UI is god awful. It's some of the worst. It's the worst user experience on any platform by far to navigate. At least, you can talk shit about like TikTok or whatever and all these other places. At least I know. At least I can open it and use it. You know what I mean? Like fuck me, Facebook, and it's even worse, man. Like I've now over the last 3 years or so had experience with using it on like a back end business advertising perspective of like using it as using the business manager system that they've got and using their advertising curation, running it as a business and working with the admin system and all that sort of shit they have. Just the worst. Just I can't even. No words will do justice how bad it is. Truly, like it makes no sense. The navigation, like just logical web design of like clicking a button would take you here. It just does not follow rules. It's truly, I don't know who designed it, and I've got no idea how the company can be so successful with some of the worst web design I've ever seen. So yes, Facebook, and of course on top of just the fact that the comments suck, doesn't really contribute anything to society. I said there's no redeeming qualities. I will say I do like Marketplace. I think Marketplace is cool, like a more convenient sort of Gumtree thing. I have used. I came up with one positive thing to say about Facebook, guys. Are you proud of me? So yeah, that's my answer. What about you, Jaden?
Mine's probably going to be Letterboxd. Like you will just never see. No, I'm joking. Like Letterboxd is fucking horrendous, and people need to understand that. But it probably is TikTok, but not for the same reason as Spooky. But like, TikTok is able to curate a feed for you like no other. So like it finds your niche, but then it finds your niche of the niche. But in doing so, you're then just blasted with so many fucking brain dead opinions and just kids that don't understand like media literacy at all. Dude, like you just never hear so many bad opinions so perfectly curated for you. Is kind of why TikTok's bad.
In a way, are you suggesting it's so good it's bad? As in like it does its job too effectively in every way?
That is exactly what it is. Like it's the reason why like,
cool.
it's just crap. Like you see brain dead people on Letterboxd way too much, but you see it on TikTok even more.
Oh yeah, man. Oh god, absolutely. I mean, overall, the thing that sucks about social, like any platform that facilitates you the ability to read literally anyone's opinion, is inherently trash. You know what I mean?
That's what social media is.
Exactly. So that's why then from that you just got to then like narrow it down further from that. So that's why I came up with my answer. But yeah, man, I've never used TikTok in my life. I mean, I've my brother has used it, and I've like seen him use it, so like I get it, but I've never actually physically used it myself, and I feel like that can't be really my answer for that reason. But no doubt, I feel like that's an answer that will resonate with a lot of people for sure. Or maybe it's their favorite. I don't know. Does anyone who uses TikTok like actually like would say they're a big fan of TikTok? You know what I mean? Or is it a situation where like everyone using it is fully aware of how much it sucks and they don't want to use it?
I think there's a significant amount of people that use it and love it.
Okay. That's fair enough. There's a significant amount of people that I'm sure use and love heroin. You know what I mean? Like genuinely don't see the problem. Don't see the problem at all. I'm sure they're out there. But anyway. Okay. As always, we'd love you to submit your responses, thoughts, and/or reviews for next week's film in the YouTube comment section. Leave us a comment on Instagram or Spotify, or join the Discord server. This week, the specific question, oh my God, The specific question we'll be asking you is, what is the best cinema effect moment of all time? Let us know. A huge question, a monumental question for a monumental episode. I'm so glad that we were able to come up with that question so seamlessly as well. It just came to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, very good. All right, that's it for this week's episode of Cinema Effect. Fitzy, what's going on next week?
We're doing Whiplash, which is apparently on only iView. I don't know.
What?
No, bullshit.
No, don't open Letterboxd. But
Oh,
no. Right? No, surely not.
we might have to do
It's on
it.
Netflix. It doesn't come up on Google. Yeah.
Perfect. Very nice. Netflix and iView. So if you don't have Netflix, no excuses. iView's great, by the way. You should, it's great. Check it out on there. Very good. But I think the more notable thing, of course, is that it's going to be episode 150 of the podcast. Very exciting. We'll be doing it in person with a special surprise involved in the episode as well. So stay tuned for that. That's why we're asking the best cinema effect moment. A giveaway. What are we giving away, Jaden?
A night with us.
Okay, like a charity auction sort of situation.
Yeah, a dinner experience with us.
That's nice. Imagine if Luke were to win that award, that giveaway. That'd be incredible for him. He'd love to have dinner with us for sure. It'd change his life, I might argue. But anyway, that's all good. We'll see you next week. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate Liam and Jaden being here as always. We'll see you then. Have a great rest of your week and goodbye.